Have you ever looked closely at points that come up when comparing the Quran to history, science, and other scriptures? Today on Bruno Apologetic, we're calmly examining 10 issues frequently discussed in these conversations. This is for educational purposes. Let's look at them together respectfully. First up, Mary as the sister of Aaron. Surah 19:28 calls Mary, the mother of Jesus, sister of Aaron, and other verses describe her as the daughter of Imran. This seems to connect her directly to Miriam, who was the sister of Moses and Aaron in the Bible, but lived about 1400 years earlier. The family context in these verses raises questions about the historical connection. Point 2. The sun setting in a muddy spring. Surah 18 ayat 86 describes a character named Tul Karnain finding the sun setting in a murky spring. This image brings to mind ancient stories where the sun was believed to physically dip into water. Our modern understanding shows the sun doesn't set into any spring on Earth. Its setting is an optical effect based on our perspective. This makes the literal description a point of discussion. Moving to point 3, human creation. Surah 8:6 ayat 6 and 7 says humans are created from fluid that emerges from between the backbone and the ribs. From a biological standpoint, semen originates in the testes and is mixed with fluids from lower glands, not from the area between the spine and ribcage. This description appears to reflect earlier medical ideas rather than precise modern anatomy. Point 4 is about mountains as stabilizers. Surah 78 and Surah 16 describe mountains as pegs that were placed to prevent the earth from shaking. In geology, we learn that mountains are actually formed by the immense pressure of tectonic plates colliding. These same tectonic movements are what cause earthquakes, rather than preventing them. So, the role of mountains here seems reversed compared to how geology works. Next, point 5, stars as missiles. In Surahs 67 and 37, stars are described as lamps in the sky and as missiles used to drive away devils. We now understand that what we often call shooting stars are actually meteors, small rocks from space burning up as they enter our atmosphere. This description seems to reflect pre-Islamic astronomical views where celestial events were tied to spiritual warfare. Point 6. Solomon talking to animals. Surah 27 tells a story where King Solomon understands and speaks with ants, who warn each other about his army, and he also communicates with birds. This presents animal communication as actual verbal speech. While ants and birds do communicate, modern science shows they use complex chemical signals, sounds, and behaviors, not human-like conversations. Let's look at point 7, Jesus and the clay birds. Surah 5:1-10 mentions Jesus shaping birds from clay and then breathing life into them. This remarkable story isn't found in the biblical Gospels. However, it does appear in later, non-canonical texts like the Infancy Gospel of Thomas, which was written in the 2nd century. This suggests the account may draw from apocryphal traditions outside the Bible. Point 8 is the denial of the crucifixion. Surah 4:157 states that Jesus was not crucified, but that it was only made to appear so to his followers. This is a significant point of difference, as historical records from various non-Christian sources, like the Roman historians Tacitus and Josephus, alongside early Christian writings, all confirm that the crucifixion of Jesus did happen. This raises questions about its alignment with established historical events. Point 9. A misrepresentation of the Trinity. Surah 5:116 features a dialogue where Allah asks Jesus if he ever told people to worship him and his mother, Mary, as two gods. Mainstream Christian doctrine defines the Trinity as the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Mary is highly revered but is never considered divine or part of the Godhead. This passage seems to be addressing a misunderstanding of Christian belief. Finally, point 10, the sequence of embryology. Surah 23:14 describes the development of an embryo, starting as a clot, then becoming a lump, then bones being formed, and finally, the bones being clothed with flesh. Modern embryology shows that bones and muscles develop at the same time from the same precursor tissue layer. There isn't a distinct stage where a full skeleton is formed first and then covered with flesh. This sequence seems more aligned with ancient Greek medical ideas. These are 10 points that often come up in discussions between faiths, and they're worth considering thoughtfully. If this video sparked some questions for you, let me know. If you found it helpful, like the video and comment with your thoughts. Don't forget to subscribe for more content like this. What's one thing that stood out to you?